last year, or the emotions of last weekend like, and where that may be?
Yeah, it was super surreal just like reflecting back on the journey of everything and how much adversity we've had to overcome just with a pandemic and then an Achilles injury when you think like things are finally going well and then you get another outdoor season taken away. So it was so special and just like the whole journey with Kentucky, with Coach Hall, my parents were able to be there. So, yeah, there were some tears shed for sure on the track, but I think that everything happens for a reason, and all of those things led me to exactly where I needed to be in that moment. So it was really special, and there was just a bunch of people there that I was able to share that experience with, so I'm super thankful for that.
Have you ever thought of yourself as an anomaly in the sprint world?
What do you mean by that?
Well, being, the rarity, so to speak, amongst sprinters, it's usually exclusive to certain types of individuals. If you know.
I wouldn't say that I view myself in any type of way. I think that, speed is speed and everyone puts in the same amount of work. And, that's always been my goal is just to be able to represent Kentucky the best I can, no matter what that looks like. And that just means showing up to the line every time and giving it my best. So that's really my focus when I'm getting on the line is just putting myself in a position to represent my team and, put my best performances out there.
Have you always had speed? The speed you have now, have you always had speed?
Yeah, so my journey to track kind of started, so I was a soccer player for many years of my life, and every year at club soccer tryouts, we would have these like running races at the end of the tryouts that everyone who was there would participate in, and I think I won those races like multiple years in a row, and so I was kind of like, okay, maybe there's something here, like I'm faster than all of these girls, I wonder how that could translate. And then I started running track just because like a lot of my friends did it in middle school, and it was more of a social thing in middle school, and everyone wanted to play a sport and hang out. So I remember I like begged my parents to let me do it, and they finally let me do it in 8th grade, and then it kind of took off from there. But I think I started to see glimpses of speed just from being on the soccer field.
Was there a moment ever when you had this speed, but was there that moment when, I've gone to a different level now?
Yeah, I think a couple. So I think one of the first times I like seriously started to consider track was my freshman year of high school. I had never ran a 200 before, and then I ran a 200 at an indoor meet. Like it was one of the last meets before our state meet to try to qualify for states, and I think I ran like the number one time in Ohio at that time, and so I was kind of like, okay, maybe there's something here. But I think it really started to come into vision for me after my senior year. I dealt with some injuries in high school. I tore my ACL my junior year, so my development on the track was slightly delayed just because of that. So I think that after senior year, I had run 22:73, I think, and kind of saw the names that I was surrounded by on that all-time list, and I think from there, that's when it really kind of took off in my head.
That video of you in the 4x400 goes viral. How many times have you watched it? What goes through your mind when you see yourself running?
Yeah, I've watched it a few times. I think the good thing about that experience is that at SECs, we had a similar setup. So going into that race, we all kind of knew exactly what our job needed to be. So there wasn't really, when I was taking the baton, a question in my mind of if I could do it. I was just going to go out there and try and give it my best. So yeah, it's been pretty crazy to watch. I haven't watched it too many times, but just kind of reliving that moment is really special.
I know a lot of actors don't like to watch themselves on the screen. Do you like to watch yourself running, and what do you think about yourself when you see yourself on video?
Yeah, I like to watch myself running just because there's so much you can learn from it. I don't typically rewatch my interviews as much, but yeah, I think that it's crucial to watch my races just because that's how you learn certain race parts and what to improve on. So yeah, we watch a lot of film, so I've gotten used to it.
In that 200, when you crossed the finish line, you kind of smiled and
Yeah.
exulted. And how much of that was just pure joy of winning versus winning against favor
Yeah.
during that time?
Yeah, definitely. Favor has pushed me all year to be the runner that I am. She's been an incredible competitor, and so I think we've really been able to push each other to do some pretty special things. So, yeah, I think in that moment it was just the race. That was the best I felt in a 200 all year. So everything just kind of came together for me, and we had been chasing running 21 seconds for a really long time. So it was just kind of the relief of finally doing that, and yeah, it all came together.
And how important is it to have a rival, so to speak, like that? You know, you have Ali, Frazier, and Federer, and Nadal.
Yeah.
You know, how about Steiner and Ophelia?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, she's one of the reasons that I worked so hard this year and was able to run the times I did. I don't think that I would have been able to have that same, you know, fire in me if it wasn't for another rival like that. So I've always said, like, I hope that at the end of the year we can look back and have made history together, and I think that we did that. So I can't wait to see her development. She's a star in the making. She's going to do some really special things.
Do you see where she is when you're running? Kind of like the plan is on race over. Do you look to see where she is?
No, I usually don't even remember running a race just because everything happens so fast. So I'll remember certain parts of it. I usually remember my block start, and then typically I'll remember coming off the curve in a 200. But it all happens so fast that you really don't have time to have a single thought during it. Yeah.
Before NCAAs, you spoke about not wanting to look too far ahead, just enjoying this moment.
Yeah.
I guess, what's the next step for you? What kind of comes in the next couple months?
Yeah, so we are heading to USA Championships. We'll leave for that on Monday. So really just kind of having that in mind and looking to make my first Worlds team. So in order to do that, I will need to place top 3 at that meet, I believe, and I'm running the 200 there. So that's kind of the main focus right now, and then seeing what happens there and hopefully competing at Worlds in a few weeks.
I think so. You post on Instagram just thankful for the Kentucky program for all the years. So was this it here in Kentucky or?
Yeah, me and my family are figuring out those next steps right now. So nothing has been decided yet.
You're in a sport that a 100th of a second can make a difference between winning and losing. You have to be kind of tuned into your body. When you wake up on event day,
Yeah.
can you kind of tell whether it's going to be a good day or not?
Sometimes I think you can kind of start to feel it during warm-ups, but there have also been times where I haven't felt great and then PR'd. So I think a big part of track is just taking care of your mental, and that's something that I did a lot of this year, making sure you're in a good headspace, because we know that our bodies are ready to go based off the training that we've been doing. Our coaches have had this programmed all year up to this moment. So I don't think it's ever really been a question for me if physically, if I'm ready to go. It's just making sure you're taking care of that mental side of things and making sure that's all good for race day.
And then fast forward to after a big event, which you've done well, do you allow yourself to kind of indulge? Do you get ice cream? How does that work?
Yeah, ice cream. Oregon has some amazing ice cream. So I went out with my parents. I got a burger after the meet. So yeah, just eating junk food and celebrating with the people that I'm close with is really what's special to me.
What is it like when you're running? You rarely see anyone in front of you, but the video that he mentioned that's gone viral, you have people, you have something to catch.
Yeah.
What is that difference when no one's in front of you, you know you're in first instead of catching up to someone?
Yeah, I think when you're trying to catch up to someone, it's almost more like you're not thinking about anything else besides doing that. I think that sometimes if you're ahead, you can start thinking about maintaining your form and making sure, your arms are swinging or you're stepping over the way you need to. But I think in moments like that, when you're just going after the chase, that's the only thing I'm thinking about is catching the next person in front of me and keeping that going. So I think it's just more of kind of a drive to win when you're coming from behind.
If this was the last dance for you, that 4x4, finishing up with that, what you did, seeing the images of you on the ground, just trying to catch your breath.
Yeah.
What was it like to kind of have that be maybe the lasting image of you here at UK?
Yeah, that was so special, especially, we set a collegiate record as that relay. So ever since then, it's been our main goal to win a 4x4, and I know it was Coach Green's first 4x4 that won an NCAA title. So that was just really special, being able to share that moment with those girls. We've been working so hard all year, and indoor we finished third, and it wasn't exactly what we wanted. So, just being able to see all of that come together and be a part of a team where everyone does their job, it was really special.
What are your other hobbies besides track?
Yeah.
Music and things like some guys use, a girl used to zone out, zone in, or whatever.
Yeah.
What are your hobbies?
Well, as far as like race day goes, I will listen to music, but once I start my warm up, I kind of like to be present. So I just like take my music out and kind of enjoy all of the sights and sounds that come with a meet. As far as other hobbies outside of track, I like to hang out with my friends, read, do crossword puzzles, just kind of take a moment to relax. Yeah. 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 I was doing them like all week leading up to nationals. They're really fun, actually.
Outside of family, who were your heroes growing up?
Yeah, that's a good question outside of family. A big one was, this doesn't fully answer your question because it is my family, but my sister growing up, she was actually diagnosed with leukemia her senior year of high school. So she was a big motivator for me once I started really getting into competitive sports. Just seeing her and how she dealt with adversity and how strong she was. I really wanted to go out there and compete for someone who couldn't, who had sports taken away from them. So I think my sister was really a source of inspiration for me growing up. And then, of course, I had, neighbors around me who played for like Ohio State soccer programs who I idolized. So yeah, I think that my sister would be a big one for me. Yeah.
And then we hear so much nowadays about professionalism seeking into amateur sports, and NIL and whatnot. And there are a lot of doomsdayers, a lot of negativity, a lot of, hey, the sky is falling out there. But in your experience, in your opinion, what is still true and right and noble and pure about college sports in your experience here at UK?
Yeah, well, I think as far as the NIL opportunities, I did not capitalize on a ton of them, but I have seen firsthand experience of teammates that have, such as Masai Russell on our team. She has taken a lot of those opportunities, and it's just kind of a great way to see it all merge together and see us, be compensated for our work and be able to represent the Kentucky brand on a bigger level. So I think that it's a good thing for the schools and for the athletes to be able to finally do, and it kind of combines it a little bit.
A couple of months ago, Oscar Sheepway was in this room, and he goes, I have no idea where I'm going to put all my awards. You've done this a lot longer than he has, and you've racked up so many. What do? Do you have your own little personal room?
Yeah, my parents have one back at home. So I have my NCAA trophies front and center in my room here. And then my mom is in charge of taking care of all of those. So, yeah.
Any idea how many awards-ish within a degree of 10, from 50 to 100, 100
Oh,
to
boy.
200?
Do you mean like trophies and medals?
Just awards and honors.
Maybe around 20? I don't know. It would be hard to say. Yeah.
All right, you guys all done here with questions? Can we go to Zoom? Do you think they're able to hear me, or should I mess with the chat?
Yeah, you can open up questions to Zoom.
Okay.
Hey, Abby, this is Larry Valls. Just wondered what it meant to you today to win the Honda Sport Award. That's a pretty huge honor. What did that mean to you?
Yeah, it's an incredible honor. Just seeing all of the other girls that I'm surrounded with from different sports and what they've been able to accomplish. So it's a really great honor to not only represent track and field, but also be able to represent Kentucky on that national stage. So it's really cool, especially being, I think it was the fourth woman from Kentucky to receive that award, and seeing what all of those ladies have accomplished and gone on to accomplish. So yeah, I'm super excited and just really looking forward to being able to represent Kentucky there.
Hey, Abby, it's Dick Gabriel. I'm wondering, you've broken records, you've set personal bests, then you said about training to try to do it all over again. What is that like, knowing that in order to improve, you need to run faster than you've ever run before? How do you deal with that mentally?
Yeah, I think one thing mentally that has helped me a lot is when you're focusing on the win versus a time. I think that when you start to get to these big meets such as NCAAs, SECs, and then postseason meets, focusing on winning, you know that it's going to take a fast time. So I think really just being able to think about that allows me to focus more on my race execution versus trying to chase a time, and lets me relax a little bit. So that's something mentally that I worked on over my years at Kentucky, and I think really helps.
Hey, Abby, there was a track camp here in Danville last week where there's 9 former Olympians. I was talking to them about you and the World Championships, and they said it's so hard for a college athlete to go straight to the World Championships because you've gone through SEC, regional, NCAA. Some of the people you're going to be running against, they just been resting and peaking for the one meet. So how difficult do you think it will be at Worlds to be able to be in the top 3 and get a chance to be on that team?
Yeah, I don't like to put limitations on myself, so I think that you just take it one meet at a time, and I trust that my coach is going to, he has plenty of experience with athletes who have been in this position before, and I know he's going to set me up to try to do my best at USA. So yeah, I think not dwelling on how many races you've done and just taking it one meet at a time is really crucial.
Hey Abby, this is Whitney Harding from NBC4 in Columbus. Congratulations, everyone here is so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You talked about your injuries you had in high school. Did you have any coaches here in Ohio that really kept you in it, that really allowed you to keep thinking, yes, I can come back, I can still do this?
Yeah, oh my gosh. I have so many people to thank for that. The biggest ones are Coach King, my track coach, Coach Willie, Coach Kinger from my club soccer program. Dr. Selena Budge was one of the main physical therapists that I worked with who really, pushed me to my limits and got me back on the track so quickly. Dr. Omatek from Orthopedic One. I feel like there was like a team of 10 people that were working with me to kind of get me back. So those are the main ones I can think of, but there's so many people that I owe to making it back on the track and the soccer field the way I did.
And did you have any people from here text you, congratulate you? What was that like? I mean, of course, the Kentucky fan base is incredible.
Yeah.
What was it like to hear from your Ohio people as well?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I love the Ohio track community. They are diehard for their Ohio people. So it's been awesome getting to represent the 614 in Ohio on a national stage. That's where I grew up, and that's home for me. So it's really special having people reach out from there.
Jack, do you have another question? He's got his hand up.
There you go. You talked earlier about switching over from soccer, and obviously there are team sport elements to track, but it is so individualistic when you're training and many times competing. What was that like changing over completely from a team sport to more of an individual sport for you?
Yeah, like you said, track does still have those aspects of a team sport, but I think just having it be a little bit more of an individual sport, there's more individual accountability and discipline required. And that just means that you have to make sure that you're doing your part in training and holding yourself accountable to make sure that you're going to allow your team to do what it needs to do. So I think just a little bit more responsibility when it came to my habits on the track and outside of the track.
I mean, can you walk us through your emotions last year watching the Olympics before you got hurt? Did you hope to be there? What was that like?
Yeah, that was definitely, I think after tying the collegiate record indoors, I kind of started to see that as a potential dream for me. I had been hurting since SEC. I think after SEC indoors was when I really had my first bad flare-up with that Achilles. So that was something that, after indoors was definitely a hopeful possibility, but I also knew the way that my body was feeling at the time. So we did everything here that we could to try to get that Achilles back to where it needed to be. But it was definitely emotional at the time watching that and wishing that I could compete. But there was also a part of me that was just thankful that it wasn't my last year and I was getting the rest that I really knew that my body needed at that time and was going to be able to come back for my senior year and hopefully do some special things. So I would say a mix of emotions, both good and bad.
Hey, Abby, how thankful are you now that Coach Green did shut you down, even maybe when you didn't want him to shut you down last year and make you have to take that rest that did get you set up for this senior year?
Yeah, it was definitely the right move at the time. It's what my body needed, and so that's the most important thing, is to just listen to your body and what it needs. And we knew that although it was the end of a chapter, it wasn't the end of the whole story. So I think that gave me a little bit of peace in the decision, and knowing that I was going to get to come represent Kentucky for another year and hopefully do all of the things that we had talked about.
Thanks.
I know you got to focus on Worlds, but or USA's, but how badly do you want to get that Bowerman to kind of put the bow on everything?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I would love to go, at least be a top 3 finalist there and go to that ceremony. I think that's something that every person who runs track dreams about. So that would be amazing, just to be there and hopefully bring all of the people who have helped me along the way to celebrate that. I would love to go.
You mentioned a second ago about, resting up last year, come back and hopefully do everything you wanted to do this year.
Yeah.
Do you think you did that?
I think so, yeah. I think we accomplished a lot of the goals that we had set at the beginning of the year.